Welcome to Inside the Huddle.
Yes. Good morning, everyone.
Always good to see you, partner.
Good to see you too.
Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend, getting geared up for a big week.
Yeah, big news around these parts. Earnings call today. Hopefully we'll have something positive. Robert seems to be excited about whatever you might be talking about because you got the invite yesterday. He wants to have a little.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that.
Yeah.
What is it, 1:30 our time?
I believe so. Yeah, well, 1:45, whatever, something like
1:45. That. So today we had some ideas that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Want me to lead it off?
Yeah, well, it's what we. Thanks for sharing, by the way, over the weekend. I had a chance to. Sean and I had a really good meeting on Friday. We spent some time doing some research over the weekend. We just want to follow up on the theme that business planning is going to be it isn't a big part of your focus right now. It probably should be, but to not make it so overwhelming, we just wanted to give you the why behind the what. Why having a business plan is so important, because for me, I look at a business plan. I love sports. I've always loved sports. I always see John. He's brave enough to put himself on camera. He races cars. I think if we were to ask any one of us, would you rather play with the lead or do you like playing from behind? If you drive a Formula One car, there's a lot of reasons why you want to be in first place. Tires don't degrade. The path in front of you is clear. You set the pace. If you play football, I've never, as a fan, felt comfortable watching my favorite team play from behind. It's a lot more enjoyable, I think, for a coach and as a fan to play ahead. So what we want to do is try to give you today some ideas and some activities that will help you set up 2023 to be a year where you play with the lead. And you're not always going to have the lead necessarily in terms of where you set up in market share, but Sean's going to talk about that, why market share gain, it's important, what it means for your business. But if you start your week with intention to do that very thing, then everything about your business is going to become infinitely easier, and you play with the lead, right? So that's kind of how I shape our meeting today. How do you play with the lead?
And how do we get that, right? We want to play from the lead. I think everyone would agree with that. The question is, what's that look like?
Well, it's different for each person, right? And the thing that the easiest way that coaches or managers get into micromanagement is they look at an individual and they start casting on them what it is they think they should be. This happens even when we're children. Our parents do this. They do it from a loving point. I mean, they see the potential in us as their children, and they start seeing a vision for ourselves that is bigger than what we have. But the danger comes when you start telling people what they should do or what they should be. Really, the trick lies in helping people self-discover what it is that's important to them, and then aligning goals and process and activities around that thing such that they own it, right? Because I don't believe in micromanagement. I will not micromanage.
I don't know what to do now. I was going to spend the next 30 minutes telling them exactly what to do.
No, well, it's about setting guardrails, right, of activities, right? But you either, I think the thing here is to take today's session for a lot of folks, take what you like, leave what you don't. Like a smorgasbord, but understand that you need to be focused on some action, right? I mean, the whole point of running a successful business as an entrepreneur is to wake up every day. I mean, I guess let's say this, Sean. What is a goal?
I think the goal is simple. I think we overcomplicate.
Yeah. Well, what is a goal
of this call?
No, a goal in general.
No, you're taking us far afield. I don't know where you're going with this.
Well, I think the goal is. I'll just say that a goal to me isn't so important that you achieve it. A goal, its purpose to me is to help you understand what you should be doing right now. So when you have a relationship with the goal isn't that, yes, I'm getting what I want right now. The purpose of having goals for your business is that you know what you should be doing. And to me, that's the purpose of a goal. Not that you achieve it, but everything you do is aimed towards the achieving it. And as such,
I would agree with that if we can add, it's not only to know what you're doing, but that there's a direction you're going.
That's right.
I mean, we may not get there. We may change the end goal before we get there. But if we're not following a map, if we're not purposeful in what we're doing, you're going to end up somewhere. It just may not be somewhere you want to be.
That's right. That's right.
So the more immediate concern that I have right now it's multifold actually, but oftentimes, and I think you guys have seen this before, we have what's called a realtor hangover in January. Realtors, we get through the fall and then we start, like Halloween comes. We have Halloween parties in the office. You guys have Halloween parties with friends. And from there, it's like we're kind of on a little mountaintop, and realtors start, I can just about see Thanksgiving. And of course, right behind that is Christmas. And before you know it, we're in an 8-week hiatus from work. We wind down. And that's okay if that was pre-planned. If you've hit your goals and you're taking December off, God bless. But for most of us, it's just kind of a losing focus. We want to enjoy family and we're tired. But what happens is we show up in January with this real estate hangover. We have this empty pipeline. We don't know what happened. All of a sudden it's, oh my gosh, I need to get to work. And we end up having usually a very, very slow February. Everyone thinks December's the slowest month, but if you look, it's not. It's never the slowest month. February is generally the slowest month, end of January, end of February, because we didn't work that much in November and December. And that's where I'm with you on this, Steve, where I want to look at is when you guys hit January, if you hit January with momentum and a pipeline, you will be playing from the lead for the rest of the year.
That's right.
That first quarter, would you agree that the first quarter sets the year?
It does. And while you made a point that the transactions may not have as much velocity as other parts of the year, the fact of the matter is in Q1, you have the highest ratio historically of listings like the number of listings sold in the first quarter in relationship to the number of units is some of the highest you're going to have all year. And that's mainly because there are fewer buyers, right? Typically, and this is in the market, but the buyers that are out are the transferee, the one that has made a plan at the end of the year that they're going to change things about. They're going to have a family. Maybe they're going to change their marital status, whatever it is. But Q1 tends to have one of the highest list to sell ratios historically within the calendar. So there's definitely deals that are going to be done,
Right. And it's a great time to come in with speed, with velocity.
That's right.
I don't know if you saw Carl put something in the notes.
What's that? I'm sorry?
Carl added something in the notes that I love, the 1% rule, the 1% better rule. Just when we create these goals, if you're just looking at 1% better each time, the goal never dies. We're always making progress. This is not about perfection or giant gains.
No.
There's no shortcut. But there is I have an idea for this, Steve, on getting set up for January. I was looking at the calendar, and you tell me what you think if I'm getting too far off on this, but I think there's kind of a perfect little storm brewing where the market has changed without question. But I think a lot of us have developed some, I won't call them bad habits, but we haven't had to be on our game and working as hard as we used to. We've been working really hard on transactions. They're coming at us left and right. But on generating business, that wasn't as hard as it is most of the time. And then on top of that, what's that?
No, I agree. Yeah, it's hard to focus on much of anything but the deal when you're getting hit with a fire hose. I mean, that's how hard, right? I mean, you can't see through that. You're just... You have 5 listings and 15 offers on every one of them. Right.
Someone says to you, did you spend 2 hours today lead gen? They slam the door on them.
Right.
It's just where we're at. So we've got that. We have some agents who haven't figured it out yet. They're still letting their clients dictate the pricing, and they're pricing like it's March instead of August. We got people on vacation, and like I said, we're very shortly going to have people starting to eye that holiday season. Market share, what Steve brought up in the beginning. Market share is so important. Market share, once gained, is very, very hard to lose. It's not easy to get, but when you gain market share, when you increase the size of the group that sees you as an expert in your area or your type of transaction, it's really hard for anybody to take it away. But right now, I think there's a heck of an opportunity for us to go get market share because of what we just described between the bad habits and the vacations and the holidays. We have a lot of agents that aren't really protecting their market.
Well, one of the things you talked about when we met was the Pareto's principle, the 80-20 principle. And I think it's important to understand a couple of things as it relates to market share. we're talking about the individual, right? Because companies can gobble market share if they hire great talent. Like Compass is kind of a meteoric rise in market share because we align with the folks on this call.
Who already have market share.
People hire people, right, not companies. So we're talking about your market share, not the company. We're talking about your intent. Don't look, let's be clear about that, right? And once you have that, what I've realized is the top 20% in Pareto's principle, those agents, they already understand this, right? They're all about what we talked about last week. They just obsess about nurturing their database and building upon that. The fact is 80% of the business out there is untethered. It's just out there because so many agents aren't on purpose with nurturing the database. This is the opportunity you're talking about. And it's coming at a time that will set us up after such a huge gain in equity that if we were, like one of the things you were talking about when we were meeting was, the CMA a week or CMA a day. Heck, I'd do a CMA an hour if I could. If I had a big enough database, right? I would actually be that intentional with that because that's going to spur a conversation and go into that 5-5-4 that you were talking about, which I hope like you elaborate on.
Yeah, definitely. And I love you brought up the 80-20 principle. That's a pretty universal principle. We see it in nature. We see it in wealth distribution. We see it almost everywhere. Everything. Except real estate. In real estate, when I poll people, generally speaking, the answer is 5% of the agents do 80% of the business. That's unnatural. You guys know that, right? It should be 80-20, which means 15% of us, I like to think those are mostly the Compass agents because we only hire the top agents. 15% are not getting their share. And it's probably because we don't look at market share enough. So right now, if you decide I'm going to go all in, I'm going to go get market share while everyone else is relaxing, sleeping, going on holiday. When everyone else comes to, in the January hangover, you'll be standing there with a full pipeline and a gas tank full of momentum that people can't take away from you.
Right.
And what's the period? We said
so
there's
if you nurture it, right? If you nurture it, let's be clear.
Right. If you stay with your CRM and without question.
Right.
I think we have 18 weeks till the end of the year. And by the way, some of this is you'll see in Workplace. I did a workshop. So a lot of this is coming from there's a video of that workshop that some of you have seen. So that, I'm not going into as much detail, but I think there's 18 weeks. And I looked at it at least because I like to do things this way. It said that's 12 months of 10-day months. And I like having short little goals. Like, okay, 10-day month, I can set, I'm going to have 10 conversations and 2 appointments. That's what's happening this month. You have 12 10-day months. You have a full mini year between now and the end of the year to go and knock this out of the park and take market share from people who aren't protecting their market right now. And what you alluded to, Steve, I think we both say over and over, to do this is got to go back to old school. The market has changed, and we got to go back to every single day. Am I actively generating business? Not on social media, not passively, those are all good. Please stop. Keep doing them. Video, we love it. But every single day, are you doing something active? Like a 5-5-4, which I steal from Tom Ferry. It's talk to 5 people you know every day. Talk to 5 people you don't know every day. Follow up on 4 old leads every day. 5-5-4. If we do that every single day, you will gain this market share that it's like it's an asset. I think I referred to it, Steve, as a salary. Market share is less like commission and more like salary because it can't be taken away.
I agree. It's so funny because the old saying, success leaves clues. I remember Floyd Wickman, my very first mentor, who I would describe as my mentor, first training program I'd ever been through in real estate, said if you did just this one thing, your life would change forever. And that was send 5. So the number 5 shows up here, right? So there's not an original idea I'm figuring out in real estate. We've all just self-discovered some of these truths that you know. But he said send 5 handwritten notes a day to whomever, right? Your centers of influence, people you just met. If you were doing that daily, your life will change forever. And just think about that. That's all, there are hard jobs like digging ditches and building runways and houses and building cars. And I can think, but, real estate's like, it's not easy, is it? It's not. If it were easy, unlike what most people think, everyone would be doing it. They're not doing it. But sending 5 handwritten notes with intention every day, where you're talking at a personal level with people, can't be that hard, right? It's
consistency.
Yeah.
Right. And we joke about this. I call it the tedium of success. Steve, you refer to it as the boredom.
Well, success is on the other side of boredom, but it is a boredom
success
activity.
On the other side of boredom.
Yeah. It is a boredom activity to do something. It's monotonous. It really becomes that way until you get the result and you're building wealth and you're having success, right?
This is a truth that doesn't get talked about very much, though. When you look at truly successful people and you think, why so few? As a percentage, there's not that many really successful people. It's not because everyone else lacks talent or skill or desire. We don't. We lack the ability to handle the boredom. Well, truly successful people can do the same thing consistently, as boring as it is, because that's what builds success.
Well, it's clear that if you're into and I'm not, but I've studied folks that have done martial arts, and this is the truth about a black belt, that is essentially after about 10 weeks, the white belt knows essentially everything the black belt does. They know everything. They know exactly what the gig is about. It's about leverage, right? It's about, it's about getting leverage on people with your body and your weight to put them in a compromised position. But after about 8 to 10 weeks, the white belt knows everything the black belt does. What's the difference between a white, because there's white, brown, blue, green, I don't know how many colors there are. But, to be a black belt means you've mastered it. And then, oh, by the way, there are degrees of black belt. So a black belt wakes up every day, and unlike all of us, or many of us, like I find myself doing this because I'm not a black belt in life. I'm still learning. But what's the first thing you do when you wake up every day? Most average people will get on their phone, they'll check their social media, they'll check their email before they even get started, like before their day. They're checking all these things instead of getting into the habit of checking what is it that I have to do today that's going to make a difference in my life for myself and for my family. Because I promise you, if you started your day by turning off your email, not looking at your social media, and you looked at a plan, whether it's your task list, a 411, you name it, whatever that thing is that tells you this is what you should be doing today, such that your brain is like a funnel, and you have all these ideas, but you know that at the end, there's a point to the funnel, and the point is, what should I be doing right now? And if you live like that, your life would change forever. But no, we've got to get out of the habit of doing all these things that don't matter. Checking my email, my phone, my social media, the meetings. And then, because what ends up happening, we do that, then the meetings show up. And then you're off to a meeting, and then another meeting, and then you realize that you've done some things for your business, but you haven't been building your pipeline so that you have consistency and you can achieve what you're capable of.
That's an unpurposeful morning.
Right. It's a reactionary morning.
It's fun. I have to go back a second. When you brought up martial arts, there's a great line that I love from Bruce Lee, where he said, and I don't know if I'm getting it exactly right, but he said, I do not fear the man who's practiced 10,000 kicks. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 10,000 times.
Oh, God, I love that. I haven't heard that. I love it.
Okay, so I want to put a challenge out. And if you go watch the workshop, it goes into a lot more detail, but anyone who wants to commit to this mini year where we're going to have 10-day goals, and we're going to execute on lead gen, active lead gen every single day. We're going to create a private group online for everyone who wants to be a part of that, where we'll have support every day. We'll have accountability with each other every day. You'll be challenged to put up a goal board, and you'll be challenged to go on every day and say what you did. But if you get in a tight group of people like you and do this and stick with it, all Steve and I care about is you're going to come out in January with momentum, and you'll be playing from the lead. And for you guys, being in the lead is life-changing. I'm telling you, as a coach, coaching a team that's in the lead is completely different. You're running whole different plays. You're taking different risks altogether. You can do so many more things. So look, we have people saying, I'm in.
Nice.
I'm going to take down those names. We're going to create this. There'll be people from all over. It could be anybody. I don't care who. They don't have to be a Compass agent.
Tell your friends.
Right? I just want commitment.
Yeah.
So definitely, if you're in, let us know. If you want to go watch the video and then text, let us know. But we want to create this short-term exercise that leads to a long-term benefit all of next year. Imagine your first quarter, like Steve said, first quarter sets the year off. So if you can dig deep here for the next 12 mini months, you've set up your entire 2023. That's a hell of a payoff.
Amen. Well, the goal will be to help you keep your number one priority and focus for that, right? That will be the goal.
Right. Whatever that is, your goal.
Right.
Building momentum early. That's exactly it. Most of the things that we want to do require that we start ahead of time and be purposeful. You know, everyone shows up to the summer and goes, oh, crap, I want to get into bathing suit shape. Well, it's too late in June. We need to start that in March.
Yeah.
So January comes and I want to have a great year. We can't wait till January to do that. We start it now. And this is going to be, we're going to keep this very, very simple. You know, in October, November, you do true business plans for the year. I hope all of you do that. I think all of you do that. This isn't nearly that complicated. We'll still have a business plan for next year at the end of the year. This is the whole KISS principle. Keep it simple.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, I'm all for that. I look forward to assisting anyone any way possible to get out of the blocks fast, because I will tell you that, like I said, it's true for me helping run a Compass business or any business I've managed or my own. Coming out of Q1, when you're behind your targets, makes it difficult to hit your goals for the year. When you're ahead, there's just a lot of equilibrium that comes in, especially if the market shows up and helps you. Just imagine if you get out of the gates and you're doing all the things now to build to a successful Q1, and the market helps out. Maybe they lower interest rates and we get this surge. You're going to you're going to ride that tide and be ahead of the competition. And that's the whole point here. You're a lot happier playing with the lead. Trust me.
You know, one of the agents that I have on the East Coast, he was just at an Economist. They had a big breakfast for the couple brokerages, and very rarely do I hear an economist speak and go, "Oh, I agree with that."
Yeah.
But this guy said he thinks that the inventory will still be thin next year. Property values will still increase. Properties will stay in the market a little longer. The market's going to soften a bit from the recession, and that will impact demand. But there's still not enough homes, and prices will still go up because supply and demand pretty much always wins.
Yeah.
That's next year is what that looks like.
Yeah, we're seeing it when you look at the stats now in San Diego across the board. The prices have plateaued. Basically, they're not falling off a cliff. They're leveling off right now. They've come down across the board anywhere between 4% and 5%, and that's what we see. In some markets, by the way, that hasn't happened. To be clear, there are some micro pockets, especially in North County Coastal, that are still holding their own. But in general, that's what we've seen. And after coming off of 2 consecutive years of an aggregated total of about 28% appreciation, I'll take that. Right?
That's the message, isn't it, too?
Well, it is
for existing clients.
Right.
What are we doing right now with your equity? I mean, it's great that you have it, but just sitting in your home is not necessarily the highest and best use. Real estate is how wealth is generated in this nation. And we get to help people with that as long as we're seeing it and realizing we're not just doing a transaction and helping someone buy and sell a home. Right now, if you help them understand that taking some of that money out of their equity and putting it into an investment property has an exponential impact on their lives and their children's lives. And we get to be that. We get to be the person who helps them see that. It's a pretty amazing job.
You know, we need to do that. We need to talk about that for ourselves in a future episode, because like we were talking about last week, if I have one regret in my life, in my career in real estate, it's that I have been around and seen people do what you just talked about, invest in real estate. I just told my daughter this weekend, you should be right now, if I were your age, going back. So if my 57-year-old self could have a conversation with my 30-year-old self, what's the one thing I do differently in my career? I would have been searching for duplexes 9 ways till Sunday.
Right. I'd never sell anything.
I would, right. Because I could buy a duplex for the cost of what would be single family and earn dual income out of it. And those people that I've seen do that today are retiring at age 40, 35. I should try to bring a gentleman that I managed when I was in Boulder, Colorado. His name's Dan Esty, a young kid that had just graduated from the University of Colorado, bought his first home. I remember him coming into my cocky thing. He thought he was going to grab the world and wrap it up, and he was going to do all these great things, and he was in tears because he couldn't even eat. But he was telling me his story about how he had bought a home and how he was going to invest in all this real estate in Boulder. But in this situation, he was living in the basement while he was trying to remodel the home he had bought, but he had a tenant in the home as he was remodeling. It is a long story, but it starts with that conversation to a man that when he hit 42 years old, retired from real estate and has a net worth of close to $12 million. Young kid, and I'm happy to share that story. And when I'm around Dan as a guy that was his first mentor, thinking what he's done and the fear and that must have been in him every step of the way, but to pursue it and to know that if I stick with this is the outcome. I'd love to share that story, and because it's what I wish I had done. It's what I want my daughter to do going forward, is to be brave and be bold and know that you can create wealth for yourself. I'm
going to make a suggestion because, I'm not here next week. I know an agent, I think he had a La Jolla in our own midst who has accomplished that. Between the two of them, that should be the theme next week. Get out of the retail side of it for a minute and talk about how we benefit ourselves and have a guest speaker.
Yep. Yeah, if you've got
love it.
Yeah, if you're someone who's built the same amount of equity as our clients, take advantage of that. Right.
I'm going to throw out a little challenge just because I can't help not. I have to be a little bit of a coach. Sure. A lot of people said, I am in on that challenge. If you're on the call and you didn't, ask yourself why. Maybe you're already into something, which is fantastic. You're in the middle of your own. But if there's a part of you that just hesitated because, damn, I don't know. I don't know if I want to actually commit myself. Ask yourself why. It's the commitment. It's getting uncomfortable that makes all the difference in the world. Comfort is not where we grow.
No. Constraints.
That's all I got today.
You're coaching, right? You're putting up guardrails. So constraints bring clarity, is what I've learned in life. When you're constrained to focus on the simple things, it brings clarity. So there's a benefit to all of that.
Look at this. We got first this agent named Lisa. I'm not sure if I know her.
Yeah.
She says, I have 25 agents on my team and 3 are consistently on this call every Monday morning. Those 3 will see a difference because they are ahead of their competition just by embracing these success tools and being consistent. Thank you, Steve and Sean.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Carl's in. Lana's in. Antoinette in. And boy.
There you go.
I threw out the challenge and people said, I'll take that challenge.
Amen.
I love it. I'm writing down these names, Steve. You want any last bits of wisdom?
Only that I really appreciate, and I commend those that are willing to get out of their comfort zone and try something. The thing about accountability or being in a part of a group like this, it is not difficult. It is not scary. It's simply being connected with what it is that you want and having a support network and a support system around you that tells you what you should be doing. That's what coaching is, right? Coaching is, this is what you should do, why you should do it. Consulting is about changing outcomes. So it's when you've taken a step and you didn't get the outcome you want, then you consult. But coaching is, you need to go do this. That's how you do that. And unfortunately, in our business, there really aren't that many coaches, are there, Sean? There really aren't. Or they're mainly consultants disguised as coaches. Would you agree?
Yeah. Coaching is a very unique job description.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mentors. Here's what I do, and that's good. Success leaves clues. But it doesn't mean it's going to help you reach your goals. This is what I do. If you want to follow me, go ahead.
Right.
We have a lot of mentors. I wanted to put out there, again, how much I appreciate this group. One of the best things about a challenge like this is the group, because you get into a group and realize that you're not different. Everyone else isn't ahead of you. It's not social media where everything's designed to make you feel like you're not catching up. You get around other people just like yourself and go, everybody struggles. Everybody has a hard time. And when I'm with someone else like that and when I have trust, we all do better. I feel a little more comfortable. I get out of my comfort zone a little more, I guess is how I really should put it. The group is a very powerful thing because of the normalization of the struggles that you go through every single day.
Yeah. When I was in Sweat Hogs,
too psychological.
Well, no, it isn't. It's when I was in Sweat Hogs, I went through an 11-week program back then, and I came out a different person. And the person that went in with big dreams and big goals, thinking about a lot of things, was a person that came out and just thought about 3 things and was on purpose with those 3 things. And that changed my life. That's what that program, that's what 11 weeks, it's really, the power is in your ability to change your mindset. That's really what this is about, right? If you're in a coaching program, you're in a program that we're laying out for agents that you've offered up, it's about changing. This will change your mindset, and that's very powerful, right? It changes your mindset, so you're not having these reactions to doing everything but what is important, which is checking your phone and checking your emails and going down that rabbit hole at 100 miles an hour. It's really about what's important for what I want,
right? And it might be surprising to find out that a lot of that mindset change is into simplifying. It's not complicating. We tend to already overcomplicate. And a good coach helps you, look, there's just one thing. There's 2 things. We just have to be consistent. Yeah. Your life actually gets simpler.
Right. Well, football season's here. I still remember as a kid going through all of that, and you do too, hitting the sled until you hit it right? We're going to run this play until we run it right. It's like that analogy you gave of the martial arts. I'm not afraid of the guy that's done 10,000 kicks. I'm afraid of the guy that's done 1 kick 10,000 times. I mean, I love that. I hadn't heard that before, by the way, in all these years. I love that. But that is it. I mean, that is it. That's what mastery is about.